I'm Mike Votto, co-founder and CEO of Votto Vines Importing, a family-run wine importing, distribution, and marketing company headquartered in Connecticut. Founded the business in 2009 with my two cousins, brother and brother-in-law. We import, distribute, and market small production estate wines primarily from Europe, and also create proprietary and private label wine programs. 2009, we launched the business and did $100,000 in sales. In 2014, we just eclipsed $6 million.
What's your biggest issue at this point in the business?
Well, it's funny. We started. When I look back at our original kind of plan and thinking, we really boiled it down to two kind of big questions. One was, how hard would it be to find wineries that would be interested in working with, a startup wine importing company?
Mm-hmm.
And two, if you found them, how hard would it be to sell the wines when you got them to the States? And the answers to those questions are, it is a challenge, but there are many, many, many wineries that would love to get their wines into the U.S. market, which is, the largest wine and spirits market in the world. On the flip side, once you get your product into the country, it's extremely challenging to sell and crack into, the distribution network.
Mm-hmm.
And so cracking that whole path to get a wine, from the winery into the hands of consumers, and you add on the additional layer of the regulatory scheme around alcohol, which obviously, for many reasons is necessary, but is also, challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you go to market in the States?
By law, only a licensed wholesaler of alcohol can sell directly to a restaurant or a retailer. But one thing that we've done is even though that it needs to flow through the wholesaler, we've tried to build some of our own relationships directly with the end buyers.
Mm-hmm.
The opportunity to get a deal done is obviously infinitely greater
Mm-hmm.
if you're doing the legwork and the sales yourself.
Is there a specific strategy you've really honed in on that you say, wow, this is a lot easier to sell into this particular type versus a different type?
Yeah, we have definitely spent more time and energy on what they refer to in the industry as off-premise, so retail,
Okay.
as opposed to kind of restaurants and hotels, if you will. Early on, I don't know that it was really kind of a conscious decision. It just seemed that the type of products we were importing and our personal and professional networks, we just ended up with more opportunities in that space. And I mean, our single largest customer is a retail, a multi-premise retailer and internet operation in New Jersey, and then we are selling to some really, really big operations like Costco. And I think there are a number of brands, right? National brands that you can find almost anywhere, but that both consumers and buyers at these various locations, I think, are showing a lot of interest in being able to also offer, diversified products to their customers. And so if you can get yourself into that middle tier, middle range, if you will, where you're still nimble and entrepreneurial and able to pivot quickly, while at the same time you have the kind of financial backing and distribution relationships to facilitate deals to the national or regional accounts, then that's a really good place to be.
And how many partners do you have?
There's 5 of us altogether.
Altogether, yeah.
Particularly my cousins that are my partners. We grew up just up the street from each other and spent a lot of time together.
So talk a little bit about how you're navigating that, because you're working together and your family. And so how do you balance or work through that?
It's certainly a family business. There are challenges. I would say that the positives far outweigh the negatives, but it's still it's challenging. In terms of managing personalities and in some cases accountability sometimes, and it's a lot different than having a true kind of employee, if you will. And we're all we founded it together. We're all co-owners, so there are certainly some dynamics.
How do you resolve differences?
I just decide.
Says the oldest.
Yeah, I mean, it's Italian tradition. I would say we try to caucus and come to some sort of a consensus. I mean, there are many times where we've plowed ahead with ideas or concepts where all five of us weren't in agreement. But you know, try to at least get a majority vote, if you will, in order to pursue kind of new endeavors.
You have an outside board?
We don't have an outside board right now. We are the board. The five founders are the board. We've done one kind of outside capital raise, an angel round, fairly early on, and none of those investors, you know, kind of required board seats or anything. And so we've never taken outside capital since then. I suspect that, you know, if we do kind of a larger round at some point, then, you know, we're going to have to shake up the family board a little bit. I was trying to figure out how you know, folks like you have been so successful financially, but are able to kind of keep that, you know, in your case, you know, farm, and in our case, kind of immigrant work ethic and family spirit. So I think that's something I think about all the time that I'd love to hear your thoughts on.
We have a lot of family philanthropic activities that we do, and we have a number of those grandchildren. Almost all of my children and spouses are involved in some way in one of the family enterprises, whether it be for-profit or not-for-profit. So, but family's important to us, as I know it is you, and I think that comes a lot from our farm backgrounds, and we haven't really lost that value system. And hopefully we passed some of it on, the good stuff on to our kids and our grandkids.
As an observer, I think what Clay's probably pretty humble about is how hard they've worked at the family. So I've seen him work on the family business, and then I've seen him work on the business of the family. And they spend just as much time figuring out what the governance system's going to be, how do we resolve conflicts, how do we have forums where we talk about things, how do we value the memories and treasure the part of the family, so that the family business part didn't take over the business of the family.
And also, you know, it's keeping that hardworking kind of, you know, humble spirit with, you know, the younger generations as they come up. Which
there's you have to pay attention to that, right? And you have to work through that. And I think what I've observed with this family too is that they realize that could become a negative down the road of the wealth, and worked very hard to teach the kids purposefully the value of the money ahead of time.